Hello, everyone. Welcome to another toy. This is a toy shop, right?
This is a toy shop, yeah.
Toy shop in Tampa, Florida. The man of 1,000 paints, Tampa Tom, is joining me, aka Eric the Man Graham. Thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for having me again, Mike.
And this is all your footage. Thanks a lot for going through that, editing it. God bless you. God bless you, sir. I give you one of those God bless yous that we gave out at the end of Delta Force 2. God bless you for shooting this and editing this, and God bless you for joining me on that.
It's the least I can do. It's a little like if you give somebody an unframed print or something for a birthday present. It's like, thank you, that's wonderful. Now I have to frame
it. So today we're going to be walking through Big Redhead Vintage Toys in Tampa, Florida. Here we go.
Excellent. So the shop, I'll preface this that I was going to go back to the Oldsmar flea market, and it was closed. It was a Monday, and the website said it was open, but it definitely wasn't. And so we hunted around to find if there was a vintage toy shop or anything in the area, and this is the one we found. So you know, it's pretty close to the airport in Tampa. It's just kind of about, I don't know, a couple miles or so from it. And I was stunned walking inside. It's a decent sized shop. It's not gigantic, but it is absolutely stuffed. And he's got some just amazing stuff.
Ooh, that's Optimus right there. That looks like
yeah. I'd never seen that. It's like one of those convenience store ride things, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah, it is. See, yeah, we got the power pause, which we haven't in the past thanks to StreamYard's a new video sharing feature. Yeah, there's a seat right there. And like the stores, they don't necessarily need to be big as long as they're dense. So some of these stores have figured out if you just pack it, you don't actually need that much space. Yeah. And a lot of toy collectors have done that with their toy rooms as well.
Indeed. Yeah, and this one is very dense. There's a lot to look at in the shop. But he had everything from, you know, the Marvel Legends and he had stuff I'd never even heard of.
The Tesseract.
I mean, yeah, to the you know, the props that they've done, the Tesseract, and they have the whatchamacallit, Eye of Agamotto, all that sort of stuff. So he wasn't slim on stuff, that's for sure.
I like the brick in behind there.
Yeah.
Motif.
But like some of these sets, like that Gray Hulk set, I'd never even seen that. Yeah, it had some of the older Legend stuff, like the Galactuses and the I think, what was that? I don't know if that was a Giant Man down there. Obviously not the new one that's being that's got the HasLab right now. But
congratulations to everyone who's getting a Giant Man through HasLab.
I love that MODOK though. That was really cool. There was a lot of stuff that is there that if I wasn't trying to be so focused on what I'm collecting right now, I might have taken myself away with. But like those Tailspin figures, I'd never even heard of that.
Are they?
I mean, I know the show, but I never even knew they made toys for those.
Are they new?
I don't.
You never know these days.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing. Not that I ever wanted Tailspin figures, but
it was a good show.
Yeah, that was one of those shows that I had to watch at lunch because it was the only thing on at lunch when I'd go home for lunch. There's the Hulk. These were nice, the Marvel Select figures.
Those really were cool, yeah.
And they didn't break the bank, at least not when they were first coming out.
But he had stuff like the Comic-Con exclusive Sentinel and that sort of stuff.
Transformers.
Just cases and cases of stuff.
These are neat. I think these will catch on, these Transformers. They're really neat.
It's a neat idea.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully it catches on. I think it's got potential. Technobots.
Yeah, and some of the like what was that? Is that the G2 coloration Devastator?
Yeah, and there's Six Shot. Target Master Hot Rod. Very nice.
Yeah, lots of stuff in boxes. He had lots of box stuff. It was collector prices. It wasn't. I'm not going to say it was the cheapest in the world. He had some deals there to be found for sure. But he also had some.
Going to be pricey right there, Megatron. Even in a beat up box like that. The thing is, it just never could be reissued in North America. The only reissues you could find are in Japan.
Yeah,
because Japan isn't that hung up on that type of thing. They don't have kids running up to cops pointing Megatron.
Yeah, import-export laws. Yeah.
Nice.
But he had some impressive stuff boxed, and even he had a couple what I would have considered grail items that I'm when I go back, I'm going to have to think about a little bit. But even some of the movie stuff and the like I think this was kind of a shelf of some newer stuff, like the the Transformers animated stuff is I would say getting on 15 years old or so now.
Yeah, Fort Max.
Yeah, Fort Max
reissue coming out. Big Bad Toy Store has the Titans Return Fort Max.
Oh, really?
Up for sale again. So that's out of the blue. That's weird that just all of a sudden, all these years later, they're gonna do another run of them. That's a money pit, because you don't just get Fort Max, you get all those DNA upgrades. It just never ends.
But he had, pretty good selection of the newer stuff there, and some of the red figures, which are
Red Alert.
Pretty good. There's the Red Alert right there.
Netflix, yeah. So it looks like Transformers have caught on. It looks like they've made quite a few of them.
Yeah, they've been around for a little while.
Predaking. Predaking was the ultimate when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Ultimate combiner. I mean, you compare them to stuff today, and it's dated. Oh, the flag.
Yeah, inbox flag. He had a few little surprises like that.
There's a DeLorean back there. Is that 6th scale?
I think it is.
It's pretty big. Oh,
it was huge. Yeah, it was a
Gremlins too beside it. Life-size Gremlins looks like.
And even some of like the Transformers, the movie, the tribute stuff. I don't know if you'd call it reissue because it's all kind of new, but he had some of that stuff there.
I'm not really digging those movie reissues because they're getting rid of the chrome and they're trying to give it a more cartoon look, but I don't think it works.
I've heard that they feel kind of cheap. That's what I've heard.
The Walmart reissues have for years. Oh, that's a great helmet.
Yeah,
the Optimus helmet.
But it's just kind of one of those things where it was like, oh my gosh, he's got this. Oh my gosh, he's got this. Oh my god, one thing after another. There were a couple things that I was kind of wishing I'd thought about, but again, whenever I'm here, foremost on my mind a lot of times is what I can actually get home. And some of the stuff that was in boxes, it was just too big,
G.I. Joe is there.
Yeah,
the Wolverine and the MMS. It's a Japanese Destro. It's a later Destro though. That's I think from the 90s. The Fridge.
Oh, and he had the Action Force stuff too. He had a bunch of that stuff that was really cool to see.
It's the only Canadian. Well, there's always going to be people who go, they like to correct and say actually, but Quebec, the driver is from Quebec.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then there some of the file cards released in Canada, they changed the birthplaces. So like Steeler was from Hamilton because that's our version of Pittsburgh. It's our steel town here in Canada. But in terms of like a file card that was released in the USA, Backstop, I believe, is the only American file card that had a Canadian province listed on it.
And that the MBT there is one of my favorite Joe vehicles. That thing was cool.
Oh, the Mauler is fantastic.
The Mauler is awesome.
There's just so much to go wrong with it if you want to get one today. Get a vehicle today. So much missing and broken. Speaking of missing and broken, the platform, tactical battle platform, is another one. Great little set, great consolation if you can't have the flag, but just so much to be broken or missing.
I actually that was one of the only, or it was the only G.I. Joe like play set I had when I was a kid. I had that battle platform. It was my stand-in for actually a lot of things. It was my Rebel base for a while. All sorts of stuff. But they had he had lots of stuff, like both classics and originals, like the out of package Transformers, and supposedly he gets some guys that fairly regularly come in and sell or trade or that kind of stuff. So there's a really good mix of stuff he's got in here.
That's good.
And I'm sure he probably scours thrift stores and all sorts of stuff for some of the stuff, but he had a really good collection, and I dare say kind of menagerie of stuff.
It's really nice when there's product coming and going. That's what I like
Mhm.
about that antique mall that we've done a few
Yeah.
walkthroughs of in Woodstock here. Um, so you go there once a month, and you're going to see a lot of different stuff from month to month. There's a lot going in
Mhm.
and going out and coming in.
Now, those two things, the Snowcat and the Rattler construction set, I I think those were like a Lego-y kind of thing. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
exactly what those were.
yeah, it is.
Okay.
Adam actually sent me the snowcat
Oh, does
a
he?
while
Okay.
back, and I
Yeah.
still need to put it together. Yeah, it looks basically exactly like Lego without
Hmm.
officially calling it Lego. Because if it was
Gotcha.
officially Lego, it would be
Yeah.
$50 more, right?
Yeah. Easily. Yeah. But he had a good collection of these like Joes that were either on card or
Card.
had the cards with them.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah.
Who had the
Wetsuit.
foresight to keep the card?
Yeah. Right.
Like, as much as I loved the cards when I was a kid and reading
Hmm.
the file cards, most of them went in the trash because that was the
Hmm.
understanding. You get the
Yeah.
toy, the packaging goes in the garbage because kids didn't have a little storage space
Yeah.
to put aside packaging.
Or if you were like me, you cut the file card off and then threw everything else away.
That was what was really cool about the
Hmm.
concept of the file card, even the dotted line, and I cut some of mine out too.
Hmm.
Like it was a lot easier to store them that way. It was
Yeah.
really smart by Hasbro to do that.
But he had a lot of stuff here. It was the kind of
Ooh,
thing where,
high five.
and it was one of my favorites.
He's the one that gets away with being neon before the neon wave came in
Yeah.
because he was alone, right? He stood alone.
Hmm. And they had he had a bunch of the reaction stuff.
I
I've
can't
actually
get
got
into that
that one.
stuff.
Let me go back. I've got that Storm Shadow. I think they look great carded. I'm not sure I'd ever take
Yeah.
them off the cards, but a bunch of the classified stuff, the Snake Eyes and Timber. I looked at a few times actually.
All shipwreck. That's a
Yeah,
great
but
figure.
I mean, the Tomax and Zaymot were probably the only other two things there that I almost bought because his prices were actually pretty good on the classifieds. I think they were like $34 or something. They were just enough more that you'd expect at like a collector kind of shop
Yeah.
without feeling like he was charging too much. But I mean, he just had like an incredible amount of stuff. I mean, just almost everything you could think of. It did make me lament. I had that Combiner Wars Prime, and I pitched it. And when I saw it again, I was like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that.
Oh, that's
But
a great smoke screen right there. That's a
Mhm.
vinyl tech.
Yeah,
Well, I guess
Beneltec or alternators. Yeah,
all alternators, right? In Japan, they were die cast,
yeah.
but yeah, I had both versions, the plastic and the metal.
Hmm.
That was a great line. The precursor, the prototype to Masterpiece.
Hmm. Those were really good. I used to have a bunch of those too. I really wish I hadn't gotten rid of those, but
Same.
yeah,
Hindsight, right?
yeah. Collection 1.0. That was a great looking cliff jumper.
Nice line there, Voltron.
And he had a decent mix. He had some of these third party stuff. And then you'll see in this video, he had some vintage stuff that I was absolutely positively drooling over.
There's an Alternator's Hot Rod.
I had that, yeah, at one time.
Great one.
Got that at San Diego Comic-Con.
I wish that one had the spoiler or something evoking the big yellow wing that Hot Rod had on his back.
It felt like it was missing something. It didn't feel like Hot Rod.
I remember trying to customize that thing for a long time. Like, how do I get some kind of yellow looking spoiler on here? And I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he had that great, like, I don't know.
Stormtrooper.
It's either a zombie stormtrooper or something. But they had that Orion Pax is another one that I always wanted to get that. And I just never quite, because it's basically Cup with a different, the different head.
Recolor.
Yeah. But just a really, really good collection of things. And it was very focused. It was like he had a lot of stuff, but it didn't feel like there was just sort of junk everywhere. I mean, it was like everything he had was good.
It's well organized too.
It really was, yeah. But I would encourage anybody that's around Tampa to put this place on their list of stops if they're going vintage toy hunting.
How far away is it from Oldsmar?
From Oldsmar, it probably actually wasn't that far, maybe 20 minutes or so.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, we kind of got to it in a roundabout way. Yeah, I mean, it was basically like, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 miles from the airport, from the Tampa airport, I think, right around there.
There's that first version, Masterpiece 01 Optimus. It looks like it's one of the later recolors of it, the animation recolor. But I love that one. As big and bulky and heavy as it is, I love that one. That one was my ultimate Optimus Prime.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I put the long smokestacks on it. I got the Walmart version.
Oh right, yeah.
And I put the custom long smokestacks on it. But yeah, here's a bunch of this is a bunch of later stuff. Oh, this was cool. So that cup and that huffer. Supposedly, there's a guy that customizes these and does these custom paint jobs, and then when he just gets tired of he wants to do some new ones, he brings them in, either trades them or sells them, and then gets a couple more to do. And I almost bought these just because they look so good.
They look like what they should look like in a movie.
Yeah. In fact, the only reason I didn't buy those, to be really, really honest with you, is because everything else I have is like right out of the box condition, and I was like, they're just not gonna like fit with the rest of my, like aesthetically with the rest of my my bots, but especially that huffer. And you know me, I love Cup. Cup is one of my favorite Transformers, and I was like, wow, that looks good. I mean, those are seriously Instagram worthy. I don't know who it is that does those, but I have to imagine they've got a page somewhere.
Look at the subtle, like the wear and tear. I mean, that looks like what Cup should look like in real life.
Yeah, those are terrific. I don't know. He didn't tell me who it was that did these, but even for $25 each, it was like, wow. I mean, that's something much more expensive than the actual toy was. It'd
be funny if it was Terry Bollea from down the road.
Yeah. Wouldn't it?
I spend my days custom painting Transformers, brother.
Yeah. And they had the version 2 of the MP Starscream. That caught my eye too, because I have the other one that's not, before they revised it. It does not look that good.
Yeah, the second one stands better.
But they had all these Japanese versions of the ones in boxes, and like that.
That is, I believe, a very old one. I'm not entirely sure, but it might be a BotCon or Japanese exclusive PVC before they were making non-transforming PVC Transformer figures. Like, it might be a modern one that's based on that old one, but yeah, I like the matrix on the chain there too.
Yeah. And the one thing about this video, and I have to apologize to anybody watching this, is because he had the red price tags that were actually like printed price tags. And when I went back and saw the video again, it's hard to see what the prices are. So I do apologize to anybody that's like, wait, how much was that? Like I said, he was fairly reasonable on stuff. It wasn't cheap, but it also wasn't extortion. So there were some things he had where he obviously knew he had some pretty rare stuff, and the price reflected that. But I think that's pretty fair.
But I don't think that's anything to apologize for. If you're interested, call him or send him a message on his Facebook page. We don't get too hung up on prices here. It's an occasional talking point, but it's not the focus. This right here, I just want to give a warning to people, is not a good Takara reissue Ultra Magnus. I've had 2 different versions of this, and both of them, the cabs were like sticky. The paint was sticky. It was like really, really bad quality paint. I've never had like sticky paint on a brand new toy.
That's really bizarre.
But I got rid of the first one I ever had because it was so bad. It was picking up like the dust and stuff. Particles were getting glued to it. The paint was so not cured. So I thought, it's defective. I don't know. Got rid of it. Was able to get another one some years later. Found a cheap one on eBay. Got it. Exact same issue. So something about bad batch of white paint on that particular Ultra Magnus. And we might see a couple comments on this video. Hey, me too. I got that one. And same thing happened to mine. It was really annoying. Especially for a premium priced collector grade adult,
Yeah, that
video.
wouldn't sit right with me either. I think this is the same GoBot shelf on the
Ooh.
other side. Okay, these were the things. So I have that Baiken Fu. That's one of the ones that's in my Silica Chogokin collection. But he had some of these boxed Godaikens here, and as you well know, as we've talked about before, these are some of my like absolute favorite toys.
Ooh-wee.
These
How old are
are
these?
very rare to find in box. Very rare.
Are they vintage?
Yeah, those are all vintage Godaiken. These were my favorite toys when I was a kid. These I had one of them, but I used to drool over them when I was in toy stores, and yeah, he had a few of them, and he had some of this other stuff that was just like I'd never even heard of some of this before. I don't even know where it was from.
There's a Scorponok. Man, I always wish they had done a Fort Max the same size as this guy, because yeah, like. He's small compared to Fortress Maximus G1, but and now we've got the Earthrise Scorponok, which goes perfect with the G1 Fort Max. Now, on the flip side, I wish we could get a Fort Max the size of this Scorponok. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah,
because that's more the Marvel scale. I love the Marvel Fort Max. I just love the character. Triptychon.
Yeah, the Triptychon was cool.
Oh, what is this? That looks like Triptychon. I guess it's a Japanese.
Yeah, I think it was the Japanese version. I'm not sure if he was part of a different line originally or what. I'm not sure what that history is.
Could be. It happened with Omega. It looks like there's a little different horn.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that happened with Omega and Skylynx, maybe. The Omega virus.
Yeah, that was a great game. Seeing that made me laugh too, because that's I think it's one of those like very collectible board games.
It's always a G.I. Joe headquarters. Not a rare set. Complete 175. Youch. That's US too. I think I got one mostly complete not too long ago for like 100 Canadian. So pretty good deal. Those can go for a lot or they can go for very little. Depends what condition it's in.
But he had, I mean, the Sky Striker and that Night Raven were just perfect looking, and same thing with that Rolling Thunder was basically in perfect shape.
Yeah, that thing is gorgeous. The nukes, which are hidden. I'd have them up on display. It makes it look so much more impressive with the nukes deployed.
Yeah.
Bridge Leia, Rattler. Wonder if the front landing gear is busted. If they ever do a HasLab Rattler, reinforce that with some steel.
Yeah.
Just for peace of mind for people who had the original. Piece of cake for the bridge there. Destro and his despoiler, fantastic. I call it later. I think it was 87, 88, something like that. But fantastic later release, G.I. Joe release. I just love Destro upgrading to the black outfit with the gold helmet and the red cape and the little flying thing. In hindsight, maybe it would have been better if he took over Cobra. If he just became the new leader and Cobra Commander ended up being the patsy and behind.
Well, Destro is, I think, one of the fan favorites, right? I mean, he was really...
Yeah. There's arguably the greatest toy of all time. G1 Optimus Prime.
I wouldn't argue with that.
He's up there. It's kind of like when you talk about greatest band of all time, even people who don't listen to the Beatles have to say, well, yeah, they're up there, right? Same with Prime. Action Masters are kind of like the prequel trilogy. With enough time going by, they're not as reviled.
On the other side of about 20 years, they're okay. Yeah.
Isn't it incredible? So for any of you young folks out there who hate something or see something being hated on, just wait a while, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how... Now that I think is a rare one. Is that Bumble Jumper?
I think it is, might be.
It's one of the ones that squeaked out in the original releases in North America. Micromasters. So we're looking at some of the 89 stuff, 88 stuff.
If I was going to collect a kind of a fringe line, I'd probably go for Micromasters. These I think are kind of cool.
I never had one for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got a couple dirt cheap at a local convention. So it wasn't any shipping or, the price was really good. They're cool. They're not Action Masters.
No.
They're cool. Oh, that's that Piranacon.
Yeah.
I've been editing some footage of him for the upcoming Transformers History 1988. And that's a really cool combiner, because instead of just the 5 members like Menasor and all those guys, he's got 6 members, but he's not like Devastator. It's not 6 members that create the body. It's still 5 that create the body, and then there's a 6th one that can be the gun.
Huh.
And the gimmick is any of the limbs can be the gun. So only the torso needs to always be the torso, but he's like Defensor or Superion or any of those guys. Like any guy can be an arm or leg or gun. But there's 6 members instead of 5. There's another Micromaster.
Yeah.
That's cool to see some of the 88 guys that I've been looking at a lot lately. Skylinks, Dinobots.
Yeah, he did lots of the Dinobots, and he had that blue that I believe was it the Diaclone version of Grimlock?
G2.
Was it G2? Okay.
I think everyone loves the blue Grimlock from G2. But that's cool. It's a masterpiece Grimlock, but recolored to look.
Okay.
Yeah. Shockwave. More Dinobots. Could really break the bank getting some boxed vintage Transformers. Love this guy.
Yep. Yeah.
Lucky enough to have Thunderclash with box. Picked it up a long time ago for not much. Really, my heart hurts for, some of the collectors out there who would love to get this one, and they look at the price and it's got to be 300, 400. I got to get mine for not much more than what it went for originally, like just because I got a lot of my stuff back when it was like garage sale era. Get it out of here. What do I need this toy for before toys became valuable?
Yeah, I have the Optimus Prime version of this, the Machine Wars Optimus Prime. I love it. It's just so weird.
Yeah,
it's just a bizarre Transformer, I think, and pleasantly so.
It's a nice thing about G1, and that's like that time frame of right in between G1 and G2. The Turbo Masters. No, they're not posable, but they don't need to be.
No, yeah.
Roadbuster, that's a fantastic G1 Transformer. Another licensed.
So these guys right here, in retrospect, I wish I had picked up a couple more of those. I bought one of the kind of third party, and I got I made a little picture of what I picked up from the store, but I wished I'd looked at those a little bit closer. Those are some neat ones. Oh, this entire shelf, in fact, there's
the McDonald's Commandrons.
Yeah.
So I finally picked up a set of these. I had them when I was a kid, just all from McDonald's. And for years I thought, those would probably look good with Fortress Maximus, because they're the exact same color scheme of Fort Max. So I finally picked up a set of 4 for nothing. It was like $15, $20, something that's Canadian, at a toy show. And I stuck them on the ramps and in the little compartments of Fort Max, and they look great for them. So if you want to fill up your Fort Max, G1 Fort Max with like more drones like Cog, they look great with them.
So that thing right there with the Optimus Prime head, I had actually asked him what that was, and it wasn't what I thought it was. That thing right there
with the silver chest.
Yeah, I was thinking it was, when I first saw it. I was like, is that one of those like Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad things or something like that? And it wasn't. I'm forgetting what he said it actually was now, but it was along the lines of like a Diaclone kind of thing, but it had this very prime head and look to it. And if anybody that's listening to this video knows what that is, because I forgot what he said, I would be very curious to know what that is, because that was one of the other items that I almost came home with. I was looking at that and looking at that and looking at that. Anyways, found that fascinating.
Could almost pass for like a War Within Prime, or like
something like that.
What Prime would have looked like before scanning a human truck. Speed Racer.
But and that I guess you could probably call it a knockoff Garbin in the back there. That's actually the exact Garbin that I've got, box included, right there. That was the Godiken version of that is what I had when I was a kid, and I'm looking at it right now. It's right up on my shelf right there. But yeah, that was I was surprised he had that because I'd never seen that before.
Technozoids. Zoids were reworked Star Ears, I think, and there we mentioned a little earlier. There's a different version of Omega Supreme, not an original Takara or Hasbro mold. They licensed it from I believe it was Toy Box. So I remember seeing these guys around the little shops around town with all the import toys in them. Across.
The battle armor and the this right here is one of my grail items, and he had it, and the price was actually pretty decent, and I thought about this.
Scott Bernard. Is that from Robotech? Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's the Genesis Climber Mospeada as the original Japanese show, but it was one of the 3 shows that they turned into Robotech. And yeah, it's the Cyclone armor. That's even the Scott Bernard version. I've got a really, really crappy Toynami version that's just falls apart. You look at it wrong and the thing comes apart. This is 100% one of my remaining 3 Grail toys.
So I'm thinking about that toy right now. Is it falling apart?
The arm just fell off.
That's fragile.
Yeah, but that thing is very expensive. It's not. I think he actually had it for a pretty good deal. I can't remember what it was now, but it was one of those that I was looking at it and looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and I was thinking, you know what? That'll take my entire suitcase to get home.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it.
It's not a Grandizer, but it's one of his cousins, you could say. Is that Guy King?
Radine in the back.
This guy right here with the skull.
Oh, I forget what his name is. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
GoBots. Now those are going to be all the rage.
Oh yeah.
No one ever clamors for a GoBots reboot. Michael Bay presents GoBots. Oh yeah. Now that's not the Panache Place Voltron right there. That's
that I think is either the Matchbox or it's hard to tell from that.
You know, I sometimes want the Panache Place Voltron, but then I see it and I go, oof.
Yeah, same actually.
It's a far cry from my Trendmasters Spin. I can't remember who made mine. Spin Masters, Trendmaster, something. It's a giant one, 2 foot tall one. It's made of peanut brittle, but it's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Size.
Like the Exo Squad stuff, and they had one of the Alpha Fighters, the Robotech. I had the Japanese version of that when I was a kid. It was one of the things my mom and dad brought me home when they went to Japan.
Speak of which, that's the one I have.
Is it? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a cool looking one. It's huge.
Jumbo Voltron. Yeah. It is so brittle. The black lion is made of basically gold plastic syndrome plastic. Yeah. So you take the arms and legs off, or especially the arms. The shoulder on mine broke from nothing. I was being so careful, and it just shattered. I tried to re-glue it, but I haven't dared to try to reassemble them now because it'll just happen again. The plastic just can't take it.
The Legendary Defender one, that version that came out when the show came out, I was really tempted by that. It looks really cool. It's a nice one, and I think it's fits the little miniature figures in it and stuff.
I like the Mattel one, but I just wish it had back metal chrome on it.
Yeah,
and clear canopy windows. Just like a blend of this 2 foot tall jumbo one and the Mattel one would be perfect.
Yeah.
I thought for how big and expensive the Mattel one was, it looked a little too toon accurate. I wanted a more toy accurate one.
Yeah.
Transformers. There's so many Transformers.
There really are, yeah. They didn't shy away from maximizing the potential of all their licensed product, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Technobots, yeah.
Whew, this place is a museum.
It really is, yeah.
There's a Japanese. Oh, Jetfire. That's another one of your grails. So, did you?
Did not.
It's one of your grails, right?
It is one of my grails.
That's a nice one. That box looks perfect.
I got close with that. I have I bought it was a reissue of the Japanese Veritech, the Rick Hunter Veritech, the Skull Squadron Veritech. So I'm close. But I would still like a Jetfire. That one's cool though.
Is that G2 Devastator again? Any smaller than Power Master Optimus Prime? Jinrai. I finally learned the proper pronunciation. I figured if I'm doing history of Transformers 88, I should learn how to there's different ways of pronouncing everything, but the most common pronunciation is Jinrai. There's a Thunderwing. Very expensive pretender from 89, I believe. One of the final Decepticon commanders in the comic book.
Yeah, you had a few of those pretenders. And of course, there's one of my favorites and your favorites, I believe, the Power Master Prime.
Yeah.
Mine's sitting right down there. I had that God Jinrai Power Master Prime, and I didn't have as much of a connection with it. I resold it. It just didn't quite do it for me.
Ooh, I would have grabbed that if the price was right. Yeah, the Action Masters Prowl. I don't need any more Action Masters in my collection, but I've got the one I really wanted, the Action Masters Optimus with his truck.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that going right beside it.
That's cool.
But I'm at the point where the price needs to be really low, and I don't mean to like undercut somebody, but I was just at a toy shop the other day, and I was asking how much is this and that, and the guy was giving some amazing prices, and I'm like, dude, hats off to you. It's a great price, but the problem is I don't really want it. Like sometimes I make these toy shop owners laugh. Like, here's the issue, like great price, great condition, but I don't really want it. So it would have to be just $5 for me to take it home.
Well, I basically have two things I'm actually collecting now, which is more or less what I came away from the shop with, which is I'm still trying to produce a 1984 full roster of Autobots. All I'm missing right now is Trailbreaker and a couple of the mini bots.
Are you looking for
masterpiece versions of them?
Are you looking just for vintage or reissues will do?
No, I did just the masterpiece versions of them.
Oh, masterpiece, gotcha.
Yeah, so I still got to get the Trailbreaker, and I'm still looking for like what'll have to be third-party versions of most of the mini bots, because the only one I've made is Bumblebee. So I got one of the ones I was actually looking for here for a pretty good deal, and I'm just gonna be looking out for the rest of them.
Good selection of Joe stuff. Lots of vintage Joe and Transformers stuff here.
A lot, yeah. He really had a good selection.
Ghostbusters too. Ghostbusters as well, I should say.
Yeah.
The trailer for that new movie looks great.
Frozen it really does. Yeah, I was pretty excited about that, and I had no idea that movie was even coming out. I didn't even know they were doing it.
I saw a funny tweet from Michael Straczynski, who wrote a bunch of the cartoon. Someone said about the new movie, we were going for an episode of the cartoon. We wanted it to feel like an elongated episode of the cartoon. And Straczynski chimes in, yeah, it would have been nice if my phone rang. He's the one who wrote a whole bunch of them.
Wrote the darn thing.
Yeah. There's the Technodrome, and it's a playset I never was really hunting for, but as far as vintage playsets, it's since I've got a little bit of space on my turtle shelf, I thought, man, that would look cool next to the sewer. But the price of it has just exploded over the last couple of years. Like $500 Canadian is too much for what this is. And a local guy found one and had it up for sale, and so big thanks to Pete in Kitchener, because I got myself one of these now, almost
Oh,
complete,
terrific.
for an incredible price.
Oh, nice.
And it just looks awesome. It looks so fun on the Goofy Turtle shelf. Like, it's the shelf looks so much better with a big Goofy Technodrome with the eyeball on the top of it. I just love how fun and goofy the Turtles, the vintage Playmates Turtles line looks.
Great.
And the Technodrome just goes with it perfect. It's like a great, awesome piece of garnish. Casey Jones. Oh, that's a Lego. It's like a Lego Ecto.
Lego Ecto, yeah.
More of that vintage turtle stuff. Playmates has really been putting out some great reissues. Every time I go to the store, I see some more like just common sense reissues. Like, reissue that Turtle Van, reissue Baxter Stockman, and not just the 4 turtles over and over again, but reissue that sewer, hopefully. Reissue the Technodrome. I'll kick myself. Oh no! I should have waited. Anyone want a vintage Technodrome? Give me what I paid for it. Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, the Megazords are one of those things that technically are right up my street. I just never collected any of those. I kind of wish I did. There were some really cool ones that they'd come out with.
Wanted to pause for the Battle Beasts because these have a real following, especially with the Transformers connection. They were released as Transformers in Japan under the Transformers banner. So those are, as far as like little kind of kitschy PVC collectibles, those can hurt the wallet if you find the right ones. Care Bears. Those have not caught on as well. Power Rangers. There's so much stuff here.
Yeah. And really, I mean, it's a decent sized shop. It's not huge, you know? So you can imagine how well laid out it all is for him to have all this stuff out, and where it's organized and everything like that. He's really done a good job in the shop.
It's like you're shopping, but at the same time just kind of moseying around and checking out a guy's collection.
Yeah, really.
And that's part of the fun of a really good vintage toy shop. Being able to see actual vintage toys and not just all 90s stuff, but being able to see interesting things, even if you don't buy it. You get a few things here and there, but you get to walk out going, but I saw so much cool stuff.
Yeah. And he had a whole lot of like one of the other things I've been collecting this year is the vintage Star Wars stuff. And I'm getting there on it. But he had some really good ones. Some of the last 17 stuff, and I mean, this stuff is not going to be cheap anywhere, and I mean, it certainly wasn't here. Just tons and tons and tons of stuff. I'm beginning to fear for completing my collection of Kenner figures because those last 17 are not going to be cheap, and they seem like they're just getting more and more and more expensive too. That's the crazy thing.
It seems that in recent years, Kenner or Hasbro has become more okay with reissues, especially with Star Wars. It used to be kind of taboo to them. We don't want to besmirch the legacy of the original stuff, and now they're like, we like printing money. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe even a HasLab. Can you imagine a HasLab of here, the final whatever it is, 17 reissued? Enjoy.
I would get behind that in a millisecond, frankly, because I mean the alternative at this point is probably paying upwards about $1,200 for about 17 figures. Forget that. That's not going to happen.
And that's the nice thing about HasLab, is as expensive as it might be, the alternative is so much more expensive. So just you stick a little HasLab logo in the top corner and people won't really care. I don't think, or even on the back of the card, and just so that people can, times are tough. Just let people hang some cool stuff on their wall that makes them feel good. It's just as simple as that. You don't really need to delve deeper into it than that. Just let people have something cool on their wall that makes them smile.
I just want my complete vintage collection.
for not a lot of money, to not have to sell the car or take a second mortgage out on the house.
Yeah, forget that. It's like I like the stuff as much as anybody, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, there's the land shark. I wonder if it sings. The Horde, He-Man. There's a Mosquito.
Mosquito. I was trying to figure out if the blood was dry or not.
Those have held up really well for having liquid. Oh, A-Wings, vintage
A-Wings.
Or maybe Power of the Force too.
They might. I think those were actually Power of the Force versions of it.
They had some scoring on them. But yeah, every time I see a Mosquito, which isn't often, but when I do, like the blood is still, it still does what it's supposed to do. It hasn't all dried up. So those were built to last.
But yeah, he had a few of the ones. There were some of these ones that you see me go past. I are in my collection now up here. So, but I mean, look at those original carded. You know, most of those I believe are the original carded versions.
Yeah, good lord.
I mean, and that's and you know they were in great shape.
Who had the foresight to
right?
You know, I mean, it's got to be in a lot of the cases just a box never got put out on the floor, in the store, or just got left in behind the warehouse.
I mean, I told you that story of my mom that had the Jedi Luke at the top of the closet, and I was a dip, you know what, and opened it when I was, oh, that's cool, so
it's all right, hindsight.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the last wall at the back of the store, and a lot of Motu and stuff. So this was my takeaway. I got cool. the classified Crimson Guard, which was always one of my favorite Joes. I got that third-party Huffer, and then some of the vintage Star Wars figures there. So I think it's a Chief Chirpa, Cliff Clavin Trooper.
It's a little known fact that's John Ratzenberger.
Yeah, the medical droid and then ironically, I already had that Hammerhead and I forgot that I actually had it. But so now I've got two. But that one's in better shape than the one I had, so I was pretty happy with that. And then the Snow Trooper, I paid a little bit more money than I was looking to spend on the Snow Trooper, but he was complete with the gun and the cape and everything. So he was in good shape, wasn't yellowed or anything like that. So awesome. that was the takeaway from Big Redhead Vintage Toys in Tampa, Florida.
That is an awesome shop. Yeah, if you're in the Florida area or if you're there for vacation or a visit, check them out. They got Metroflex driving Optimus. That's pretty cool.
It's definitely worth the stop though, for sure. And even if it's a little out of the way for you, it certainly was for us. But it made up for Oldsmar being closed when we went there. So
yeah. Oh, I just love how much actual vintage stuff is there, and a variety of opened as well as box stuff. I'm not going to be buying the vintage boxed and carded stuff, but it's cool to see.
Yeah.
Even if you just snap a picture of it to put up on your...
Slightly out of my budget too, but he had everything here. I mean, it's if there were key things that you were just missing, and like, oh gosh, I really wish I had XYZ, and you were a Transformers fan, chances are he's got it.
It's what I really enjoy about going to shops and conventions like this is it's not like you're wading through trash to find the hidden gem in the trash. This is all cool stuff, and what's really fun about the hobby for me is wading through all of this amazing cool stuff to find the gem. It's like you're wading through gold coins and then you find the diamond. Like, oh
yeah, it really is.
All right, that's it for this walkthrough. Eric, once again, thank you very much for putting this together for us.
My pleasure. Always enjoy doing these with you, Mike.
Everyone out there watching this, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for supporting the channel. And until next time, nerds must stay.
Cheers. And real quick, a big thank you if he's watching this to Red. You're super cool. Great guy. I loved your shop. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Red.